I'm Annette Ebbinghaus, and welcome to the story of my life and how I've gotten to where I am so far. It all began in Canada. So let me start by putting on my Canada shirt. I was born and raised in Canada, in a small town near the city of Windsor. And one of the things that was really important to me when I was younger, and still is now, was my faith. I'm a Catholic. It's gotten me through a lot of life's trials and tribulations. And the area that I lived in basically surrounded the church. I'm one of 6 children, so the household was really quite busy. And I started running around the age of 13. I ran track and field and cross country. And one of the reasons I started running really was to give myself some solitude, some time for myself, some time away from the busy household and my brothers and sisters, whom I love dearly. But sometimes I just needed some time to myself. So my running became my way to find peace of mind, solitude, freedom, and it really fit my type A personality. When I went to high school, I ended up graduating with my letter E. It's when I realized, I think, that I was a seeker, that I really wanted to be involved in a lot of things. I was involved in the choir, I played at the oboe, I played basketball, I was head of athletic association, I wrote in the newspaper, of course I ran track, and I really felt like my life had purpose. Now, something else that was important in high school is that's where I met my husband. I met my husband when I was 16 years old. And something else I did in high school is I joined the Navy, because I thought it would be an interesting thing to do, and I would learn something new. So here I am, finished high school, did my Navy, and I decided I wanted to be an engineer. So I studied engineering at the University of Windsor, and it's when I decided to run my first marathon. So at 19, I ran my first marathon, and I finished 3rd in my age group, which I felt pretty good about. But over the course of the 4 years, I ended up winning this award, and it was for a student who had good academics as well as athletic contribution to the school. So as you can see, I spent the first part of my life really what I call collecting gold stamps. I have lots of medals and trophies from all of my running races because it was something that I was good at, something I was really motivated to do. So after graduating from the University of Windsor, I ended up moving to Ottawa. So I started working with a small engineering company, civil engineering company, and I started building bridges. And it was a great place to work because it was a small company, so I had lots of opportunities. And I continued to run track, and I ran some of my best races of my life, running with the Ottawa Lions Track Club. And while working there, I had to learn how to scuba dive, because we did underwater inspections for foundations of bridges, and I was a little bit afraid of enclosed spaces, so it was a bit of a challenge for me. But again, I'm a seeker, and I like to learn new things. And one of the other really important things that happened while I was living in Ottawa, I got married to my boyfriend of 6 years at the time, and we're still married 31 years now. Something else that happened, I became a PEng, which meant I could stamp all of the drawings of the bridges that I designed. They decided everyone in the company should have a master's degree. I didn't have a master's degree, so I then got my master's degree. And my research was in bridge deck deterioration rates. And I developed a new program for the Ministry of Transportation of Ontario. So in a way, it was like collecting another gold stamp. While I was doing my Master's of Science, I realized I really didn't think engineering was for me anymore. So I decided to do an MBA. And I decided to do the MBA because I managed to get into the top business school in the country, which was the Richard Ivey School of Business at University of Western Ontario. So off to London, my husband and I moved. And 2 years later, I graduated with my MBA. Now, of course, I had to be involved there like I was involved everywhere else. I did stop competitive running, but I did get involved in being class representative and other things at the school and within the community. And it really was a great time in my life. From there, I decided to take a job in Switzerland. And I moved to Switzerland so I could work at IMD, the International Institute for Management Development. It was my first experience with different cultures and a lot of different languages. My work at IMD led me to co-author this book, Environmental Benchmarking, Becoming Green and Competitive. And with this book, I got to travel a lot. I did research with companies across the world, not just within Europe. After my husband graduated from his MBA, he decided it was his turn. He wanted to move to Asia. So off to Singapore we went. So finally, I decided to give up my post at IMD and I started my own company. That was when Eco-Ability Management Consultants was born. And in this company, I ran a sustainable development simulation with universities and with companies and for workshops in the region. Now the most important thing that happened though while I was living in Singapore was the birth of my 2 children. So when my daughter Anastasia came along and my son Taven came along. And I think this is probably when I started the biggest job of my life. So just when my first child was born is when I realized I was really afraid of heights. My sister said to me, you should really see this woman called Dr. Yvonne in Toronto. So I went. And I was astounded. After doing this past life regression, my fear of heights disappeared, my fear of enclosed spaces disappeared. It opened up a whole new world for me. And she also did a reading on me and said, you should be in the healing area. I'm like, pardon? She said, yep, you should be working with the body and you should be a healer. So that's when I started my foray into massage. I started with massage because I thought, well, I like getting massages. As a runner, I had had many. So I became a massage therapist. And then I thought, oh no, I need to learn more about the Asian way of doing things because I'm living in Asia. So I also became a reflexologist. Then I studied aromatherapy as well and holistic massage. It was fantastic and I loved it. But while doing this, I also decided to start a furniture business with a couple of friends. It was called Asian Private Galleries. And what we did is we imported mostly Indonesian furniture into the United States. And that business went for about a year or so. But just as I get going with my massage business, my husband announces we're moving to the United States. So off we go to the United States and we move to Atlanta. And when we get there, I can't work. I don't have a green card. So I decided, fine, I'll throw myself into volunteering at my children's school. So I started pottery studios, and it was a way for us to raise money for the school. And the kids would come in and paint pottery, and it was so much fun. But then we got green cards. So I started again working back in sustainable development. And I got to work at Cornell University, and then as well do a little bit of work in New York City. So I was getting excited. Things were starting to roll. Then my husband says, we're moving back to Switzerland. But our stay in Switzerland was supposed to be for 2 to 3 years, so not so long. So I decided to get involved with the school again, and there I got really involved with a charity organization. I had already been involved with a group called Saksabai since our days in Singapore, and I brought Saksabai into the charity part of the primary school. We went from raising 5,000 Swiss francs a year to 30,000 Swiss francs a year. So it was really a great achievement. But what about me? What did I want to do for myself now? So I found a place called Life Motivations, and there I started doing a lot of different things. I did craniosacral massage, I experimented with NATE treatments, which really helped me a great deal. I also started doing this thing called sophrology, and I decided, okay, maybe I'd like to learn that. And I absolutely loved sophrology. The reason was, it's meditative, it's relaxing. It was talking to my type A personality because it was also dynamic. So this dynamic aspect of bringing me into the present moment worked wonderful for the way my body works. And what sophrology is, it's actually the study of consciousness and harmony. To become very much more aware of your conscious self and who you really are. It's transformational, and it also helps you stay in the present, accept things as they come, and really get to know again who you are, who you want to be, and how you want to respond to life. So sophrology was really a bridge to living a balanced and conscious life. I actually started being versus just always doing. So I decided to start my own company again, TrulyBalance. And I started off with TrulyBalance doing sophrology, reflexology, and massage. But of course, as you know by now, I like to learn, and I'm a seeker. So I continued learning, and I became a Reiki master, so I included Reiki, a Louise Hay practitioner, a hypnotherapist, I'm learning neuro-linguistic programming, as well as coaching. So all of these are part of TrulyBalance. In 2009, I started working with teenagers in the Inner Fitness for Success workshops to help them manage life and exam stress. I also start Families in Balance, which are workshops that I do with a parent and a young child, and I teach them sophrology and mindfulness exercises. As well, I have the Be Happy courses and workshops for adults. And I also do similar work in corporations. So I like to think of myself now as a holistic coach, helping you find your path and find your I am in your journey in life. Everything that I've told you today are things that have made up my life thus far. They form my beliefs and my limitations. And in the end, I'm a person like you, still seeking, still on my I am journey.